Does your business provide a quality service or product? If the answer is yes, then there is a combination of tactics that can be customized to fit your unique business that makes your business super profitable, creates wealth, and makes a difference in the process. I know this because I've built a few tiny businesses to more than $70 million. You're listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Show. Conversations with self-made millionaires and high-level entrepreneurs that will grow your business. Hey, it's Travis Lane Jenkins. Welcome to episode number 119 of the Entrepreneurs Radio Show, a production of RockstarEntrepreneurNetwork.com, where each and every week I'm going to connect you with a rockstar entrepreneur that explain their journey to success and what's been the key principles to finding that high level of success as an entrepreneur, so that you can see that successful business owners that transition into being a true entrepreneur are just really everyday people that have stayed committed to taking constant, focused action each and every day. Now, today I'm going to introduce you to Jason Bolt. Now, before we get started, I want to remind you there's 3 ways you can take these interviews with you on the go. There's iTunes, Android, or Stitcher. Just go to RockstarEntrepreneurNetwork.com. Click on the iTunes, Android, or Stitcher button right there on the menu bar, and it will take you directly to the show where you can subscribe to the show if that's something that you want to do. Now that we've got all that stuff out of the way, let's get down to business. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Yeah,
you bet. I'm excited to have you. I'm looking at your bio. You've got kind of an interesting story. First of all, you went after a business in kind of an interesting way. I love different angles. So do you mind sharing that backstory of how you conceptualized this and then how you found different levels of success?
Yeah, certainly. I do have, if you're looking at my bio, you see I kind of hopped around in different professions, from legal to medical, and then finally landed in business. But I've always, throughout my life, been very interested in business and the idea of creating a team and value, building something of value. So I've been an entrepreneur since, I guess, my first paper route back in junior high, and I've always tried different things. And when I was in school at University of Oregon, had the idea, I was actually at a football game at Autzen. It's just a mind-blowing number of fans wearing fan products. They have team-colored wigs and anything, dresses, shoes,
face paintings,
everything. Yeah, just to show their fan passion. And I really got wrapped up in that. I found myself going to games and donning all this green and yellow product. And while I was there, I just noticed that, people were wearing all the green and yellow product, but everyone was wearing black or brown kind of boring sunglasses. And I'll say that was my light bulb moment of, I know there's a big demand for licensed product and team colored product, and it's outdoor stadiums filled with 70 to 90,000 passionate fans.
Right.
So just with that thought in mind, that night actually after the one of the bigger games, I went home and did some research online on sourcing, and reached out to some manufacturers after I found a few websites that initiate or help initiate that contact, and created some designs. After, it took about 4 to 5 months to find a manufacturer that I could work with and that, understood English and the concepts and was able to produce a quality product. But after getting the samples, I went to class and started handing them out to friends. And, that was kind of my product testing, market testing phase, was just wear these around and tell me what the reaction is, tell me how you like them. The nenext day, coming to class, every one of them said, "Hey, all of my friends want a pair of these. They love them. They, few of them had them stolen." So, I knew I was onto something, and then decided to figure out how to go about selling product into the bookstore, because that's where a lot of students purchase. At the beginning of the year, you get a fresh set of new students, new fans looking for products, going into the bookstore to not only get their books, but also their fan gear for the season. So I knew that was kind of a key to success, and reached out to the buyer there. I emailed her probably 15 to 20 times until I was able to get a response. They're very busy people, but she finally said, "Hey, we have 10 minutes on this day, and come on in, show us what you got, tell the story." So I remember the night before, it's very vivid to me because I was just so anxious. I had never presented a product to a buyer. This whole process was new for me. So I was up all night doing research, creating a PowerPoint about the product, price, everything. And then, I was probably up till 4:30 a.m. just putting it all together, making sure I had a solid presentation.
Before you speak to them?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Before I went to meet with the buyers,
right.
And remember watching YouTube videos on how to present a product to buyers and working on all that. And so just that process was really a learning experience. And I went in to the meeting, and I just remember sweating like crazy, being nervous, and getting my PowerPoint presentation ready. And they sat me down and said, "All right, what do you got?" Handed them the sunglasses, 2 different colorways, and at that time we didn't have licensing. It was just green and yellow sunglasses. And they put them on, and we're looking at them, and I'm getting ready to show them this amazing presentation I had put together. And they ended up just ordering, I think it was maybe 5 or 10 minutes into the meeting, they ordered, I think 144 pairs of each colorway, which, to me, I was on cloud 9.
Right.
That basically wiped me out of all the inventory I was storing at the time in my kitchen.
All 144 pairs, huh?
Yeah, I think I had 200 pairs of each that I had placed an initial order for, and so I had bootstrapped a lot, so it was all was able to get samples for free, and made my payment terms were good. So on that first order, I was ecstatic because I was profitable right there.
Wow.
And anyway, so yeah, it was great.
That's
really
rare.
Exciting. Yeah. And was able to deliver next day. And within 2 weeks, they had sold out of every single pair. And I was seeing them on campus and at games, and, the momentum just built from there. I ordered in, a few thousand more. And by the end of 2010, we had sold to 25% of the student population at Oregon, and they were everywhere.
Nice.
So
how many is that?
Experience.
What 25%? What's the number of that?
It was about 6,000.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, and that was I was working out of my apartment again. It was I had to set up a little fulfillment center. Was hiring friends to come in and do quality checks and drive them down in my Honda to the warehouse. So it was an incredible experience, and one that I'll never forget. Incredibly valuable.
Well, so let me make sure that I understood.
Yeah.
What you do is you sell it to the school and then let them resell it?
No, so it's actually, well, yes, sorry. So the way the arrangement works is we now have licensing with 80 different schools, and then the NBA, so all 30 NBA teams. So we pay the school for the rights to use their logo.
Right.
We pay the licensing department, and then we have about 600 different retailers that now carry the products. Our main retailers are the school bookstores, some of which are independent. Others are actually run by the school. So yeah, we'll sell to them at a wholesale cost, and then they'll resell the product, on their stores and websites, things like that.
Well, so what you did that was really clever is so you figured out the best point of sale. Mm-hmm. And then you used their existing distribution channels to get it out there. So, it's no wonder the business was profitable so quickly is you didn't have to go through all of those steps yourself. That's a brilliant way of kind of thinking down the line of what's the best way to get this into the mainstream of raving fans, right?
Right. And that was the goal from the beginning, was we want to be wherever the fans are. So whether that's, in the bookstore or at the stadium, selling in those, those venues there, it's an impulse buy item that really speaks to fans immediately, because it's a very bright, it's in their team colors, has their team logo. It's a functional product, so it allows you to actually view the game better because it provides protection. So, yeah, the ultimate goal was to connect with those fans. Because we felt like, and we still do, that this is the best product a fan can buy, because it is functional and is really well made.
Well, there's got to be really good margins in something like that, also.
Yeah, it's a good margin business. We do reinvest a lot into marketing and distribution, and so there are costs of doing business that we need to support, but it is a healthy margin.
Right. So, I don't know if you've ever heard. Have you ever heard of Gary Halbert?
I have not. Gary
Halbert is one of the most brilliant people at selling stuff. Mm-hmm. And in fact, he was so good in the 70s that, and I may have this off just a little bit, but he employed 23 people full-time to go deposit checks that he received on a daily basis.
All right. That's impressive.
And so they were depositing so many checks and spending so much time opening and depositing and transporting and everything that he finally opened a office in the same building as the bank so they could just walk them downstairs. And so this guy is, to say he's brilliant is an understatement.
Yeah.
He sold he did the background where, and the name's escaping me, to where what's the family? It's a family crest. Okay, so my last name is Jenkins. What he would do is he would look up the history and the family crest of Jenkins, and then he would send a sales letter that he wrote to all of the Jenkinses and all of the phone books, and he would sell them this very personalized story and crest. And I may have the details slightly off here, but he just made a killing at this, just insane amounts of money. And one of the things that he said, they asked him if you could have any advantage in the world when selling a product, what one advantage would you want? Mm-hmm. And he said, I would want a hungry crowd.
Right.
That is the single biggest advantage, even over a better product, over superior sales copy, all of those other things. Mm-hmm. And that's what I see you tapping into here is you've got people that are hungry, raving fans for each school or each NBA team. And so, you're not creating demand. The demand's already there.
That's correct. Yeah. That's exactly what we've tapped into, is that fan passion and being a part of that. Our up here in the office, we just have an internal mantra of quality products for passionate fans. And all of us here are passionate fans ourselves of one team or another. And so when we go through the development of a product or marketing campaign or business strategy, we apply what we know, how we seek out products and what gets us excited to those processes, so that we're not creating any barriers to why you wouldn't buy our product, but because the hunger is already there, we're facilitating that.
Right.
Yeah.
So do I understand it right that you have over 3,000 SKUs?
We actually have more than that. We have probably upwards of 6,000 now.
Wow.
And one reason is that we also have this custom sunglass offering on our website. So you can go there and you can actually customize a pair of sunglasses. It'll change the color of the frame or the lenses right there on the screen. And there's about 3,600 possible combinations on there. And then we we actually build that custom pair for you in our warehouse, and usually are able to ship those out within a day or two.
Well, so those aren't so bad because you don't have to inventory them, right?
Right.
You can build them on demand.
Exactly.
But with 6,000 SKUs, you normally have to inventory stuff like that, right?
We do, yeah. And that's one of the big challenges, especially in the licensed product market, is managing your inventory and forecasting. So that's something we're constantly working on as far as improving the model and getting insights into just turnover and stale inventory, watching those numbers, and then really having to forecast how well we think a team is going to do, because that will extend the selling season. If they go to a postseason bowl game, fans become even more rabid about their team when they're going to a bowl game. So we want to make sure we have products available for those types of games.
So can you take your production of on-demand and quickly produce, say you have one team that just all of a sudden has a gigantic pop and you need to fill an order of, a large order. Can you channel your on-demand team to create that large order in a short period of time?
Yes, that's something we made as one of our strategic initiatives last year, was just being able to react to big games or breakout teams. So when a team unexpectedly has an incredible season, there's a lot of momentum behind the sales of products for that team. So we want to be able to quickly react and pivot. So we do have, we've partnered with some local companies to do on-demand printing on the temples. So within a week, we can turn around, a few thousand pairs if need be with team logos or different designs. And then we have a ready stock of blank inventory that, we can use to print on top of. So it's an evolving model, but it definitely has evolved quite a bit since we started in 2010. And really allows us, it's a huge value add in that we can provide very custom product almost on demand there.
Yeah, so how long do you have? So say something just comes out of left field and all of a sudden is super popular. How long do you have to ride that wave?
Well, it's really, there's a peak during, for us, it's all based around the football season for the most part, because that's when fans are doing most of their purchasing. Mm-hmm. And we will see, again, where you have the breakout teams that you didn't expect to sell as much as you had, where that can last, up to 6 to 7 months, and even longer. Like, just a good example, we've really started to customize the products now, take cues from uniforms and helmets and other elements, because sports is becoming a lot more about fashion now, especially collegiate, where the companies that supply the uniforms are changing them up every year, and they offer 500 combinations for one team, possible combinations. So we've tied into that, and some of the designs we've created and created last year, we do a run of 1,000 pairs, and they would sell out in a day or two. So immediately, we're back on it, ordering, and some of those, like we did an Indiana, University of Indiana candy stripe shade to match their candy stripe pants that their basketball team wears, and those have been just on fire for the last 10 months. So it's hard to keep those in stock, but we do have situations like that where certain products will go on a run. And we're able to react quickly to that.
Right. So, are you outsourcing? What percentage are you outsourcing? Are you trying to produce as much of it as possible on your own?
As far as production goes, we outsource about 90% of it.
Good.
So we're
good.
Yeah, we outsource a lot. We have 4 different factories that we pull from right now. Actually, we're at 3 right now. And we work very closely with them on the quality control and production capabilities. So that's worked out really well.
And so, where's the bottlenecks in the business? What's your hamstring? What's keeping you from moving to hockey and football or other or NFL?
Yeah, great question.
Right.
So those are all obviously, that's the growth model, is attaining additional licenses and getting those products into the market. Specifically for some of the bigger leagues, they want to see an operating history of 5 years or more before they partner with you, just because they're looking for longevity.
Right.
And we have a great sales history with the leagues we're currently partnered with. So we have a very strong case to present this upcoming year, which will be our 5th year. So we're definitely, I'm constantly in touch with the licensing directors at those different leagues, and our plans are to move forward with those, adding those additional leagues and products.
So it sounds like you're right on the cusp, right?
We are. We're close. We're close.
Yeah. So beyond the 5-year thing for those larger companies, what do you feel like is your bottleneck?
I would say currently, we're implementing a ERP system. So it's systems and inventory management is something that we're shoring up right now, because in order to scale where we think we'll go over the next few years, we need to definitely upgrade our systems to keep track or keep up with that growth. From inventory management, like you pointed out, is a big one for us that we're constantly improving on. And then just all the things that go along with scaling, and scaling specifically with so many different markets, because we're not only trying to reach the fan market as a whole. We have each team has its own culture, and each fan base has its own culture. So making sure that we're able to stay organized and have marketing plans outlined and prioritized for each of those different teams or cultures is part of that system upgrade. Making sure we can do that and do that effectively and efficiently.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine that there would be shrinkage issues with that, and shrinkage comes in all different forms, theft, breakage, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Do you track shrinkage with what you're doing?
We work with our retailers on that. Some of them, surprisingly, we haven't seen a whole lot of issues with shrinkage. We do have some of the larger retailers we work with just kind of build in a percentage fee that, it's a flat fee, and whether or not there's shrinkage or not,
right.
You pay that fee.
Right.
But we also have designed displays that discourage that and allow for easy interaction with the product at point of purchase. So you can try it on, you can see yourself in the mirror, and it's easy to put back. Just knowing that they'll get handled quite a bit, and we don't want any damage to the product. And we also upfront talk with our retailers about placement of displays and things to kind of deter theft. But they're pretty good at that. They're able to watch, and most of them have dealt with just non-licensed sunglasses before, so they know what can occur there.
Right. Man, what a learning curve you've been on in the last 5 years, huh?
Oh, incredible. Yeah. I absolutely love it. The life, it's, you live and breathe. I live and breathe the business, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, it's been incredible. Living
and breathing it, puts college to shame. The amount of learning that you acquire on a deep level of getting out there, taking the blows, making these decisions, making the wrong decisions, making the right decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
The amount of learning and the amount of growing that happens is just off the charts. If you could chart it, it would be an insane looking chart.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So over the 5 years, do you know off the top of your head what type of percentage of growth have you experienced year over year?
It's year over year. We're averaging about 220% through 2013.
Yeah.
So right in there. Yeah.
Yeah, you get some good systems in place once you get beyond that 5-year mark, just like you said. And boy, you could start experiencing some drastically larger growth curves than that.
Right. Yeah, we do anticipate that, with the larger leagues and the ability to scale with the right systems. It gets me very excited. That's what keeps me up at night, is how are we going to execute on this? What are the systems, team that we need to make that a reality?
Right. So looking back, what would you say the 2 or 3 or 4 things that come to mind that you learned that you think kind of translate across all businesses? What were the turning points for you looking back that you feel like are valuable in sharing with other entrepreneurs?
Yeah. For me, it was from the get-go just really focusing on the end customer. For us, it was we have the retailer as a customer of ours, and then the end customer, the user of the product, is a customer. So just for me, when I brought, even just taking those samples to class and handing them out to friends and watching how they interacted and their reaction to them, and then just getting feedback, a constant feedback loop from customers, and really focusing on what gets them excited. I like to say now, like, we're a company that's all about customer experience, and that encompasses everything from your a customer's first touch point with us. So whether it's an ad in a store or online and social media, or they purchased our product, all the way through basically lifetime, we want to excel and be the best at the experience. And that's a real, I think, a mindset shift. I think a lot of people focus on just marketing as in like the product, but not ultimately thinking about the customer. So yeah, thinking through that, and that's a continually evolving thought process for me that we always work on here internally. Right. And then also backing that up with quality products. So, our products are a lower price point, $20 to $35, at the high end, but we don't, we still want to focus on making something that's quality, that's going to last, that, our customers really appreciate and are willing to tell their friends and other fans about, because that's just so important to us, the quality there. And then I guess just personally too, the ability to manage time well, for me, is just been so key, and that's been something I've just learned honestly in the last year. Just management of making sure you take time to allow yourself to think big picture, and not just be in the day-to-day. Because as a founder, there's a huge difference between being a founder and a CEO. And that evolution, it tends to be a difficult one, because you're in the day-to-day, you're in the exciting, like, I flew around to 12 different schools in my first year, and I get excited about that, meeting with buyers and doing that whole thing. So being used to the day-to-day and then transitioning to more the big picture management driving role, is crucial and important, but making sure you take time to step back and have a balance with the personal, and also evolve who you are within the business and take stock of that.
Yeah. And it's hard. And so for a young guy, you're dead on about, shifting from working in the business to working on the business. A lot of people make the mistake, and they end up creating themselves a high-paying job rather than really owning a business.
Yeah.
And working on the business means that you're looking out on the horizon, and you're planning, and you're focusing, and you're strategizing. And I can already tell by the way your wheels turn and some of the things that you're saying that you've been thinking on those deeper levels. And it's hard to think on those deeper levels when you're constantly inside the business, meeting and greeting and selling.
Right. Yeah.
And so you've got to continue down that path. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that I still think there's an element there that's important with, the strategic relationships of the meeting and greeting and getting the word out, and even doing things, like this, where I get my chance to tell the story and really be a part of promoting the business. And but the long term, big picture stuff is ultimately what really gets me fired up. So that's been a fun transition.
Yeah, I keep a journal of notes, and I have a whiteboard, and I constantly sketch things out. And I have Gliffy, which is a great flowchart, cloud-based type tool. And
what's that called? A Gliffy?
Yeah, Gliffy.
Okay.
And it's really incredible because I can chart out a path of everything. Say I want something to happen, and it's 20 steps, right? Mm-hmm. Well, in Gliffy, with flowcharts, you can chart out those 20 steps, but with businesses, things can happen between each of those 20 steps.
Right.
Meaning someone or something does not take the preferred path that you want. Mm-hmm. And so part of creating systems is you've got to map out not only the preferred path, but you've got to map out all of the potential things that could not happen, or at least variables that you do know, right?
Right.
And then as you flesh that out, it's very easy to take and share that idea with your team. Mm-hmm. And when you label it and put it in, so sometimes I put it in swim lanes, and so one swim lane means someone goes down a path that I want, and the other one is not. And I chart all of that stuff out. It conveys a whole new level of understanding for everybody on my team when they can see the flow plus all of the context that I'm putting it in. And so there's an element there that you can cover that is very difficult to cover in one-dimensional text on a page. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there is so much variability in especially a smaller business where you're typically working with new resources or new contacts that haven't been proven out yet. You hope it'll work out the way it's planned, but we're constantly pivoting and reacting to how things actually turn out.
Right. And so sometimes it's nice just to give it to a key person and say, hey, you map this out.
Right.
Or you can give them what you've mapped out and tell me what am I missing? Mm-hmm. Or what happens here that I think is happening that is not happening. And it brings just a whole new level of understanding for everybody. Mm-hmm. I learned this many years ago because I'd always felt like I was a pretty good communicator, mm-hmm. and I would have a meeting, and I at the time I was having a meeting with 21 salesmen of mine for this one company, and I really felt like I conveyed everything that I wanted to convey. Mm-hmm. After the meeting, there were 4 or 5 different meanings, or people come to me with 4 or 5 different meanings. And it was the beginning of me understanding that even when you feel like you're conveying things in a very succinct way, it's people's takes on how they're reading it, whether they're paying attention, and their own experiences.
Right.
Whereas with flowcharts and other things like that, there's no room for mistakes or misunderstandings. It is either accurate or it's not.
Right.
And that's how you get everybody on the same page, or one of the steps of how you get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah, excellent. So let me ask you, what book or program made an impact on you related to business that you'd recommend, and why? I bet you I can guess because of one word that you use, but you go ahead and tell me.
Well, I really, really like Good to Great, the classic business book. That was a recommendation from a friend of mine when I first started, just to read through and get insights into making sure you build the right team as you continue to scale and get the right people in place. So that's been great. I read that probably once every 2 years or so, or actually once every year now, just to refresh.
Right.
And then I really like the Delivering Happiness book. And it's all about customer service and Tony Hsieh's approach to Zappos and culture. And that was really enlightening for me and spoke to where I wanted to take the businesses, I guess.
Right.
Just making sure that we were all aligned towards, first of all, making sure employees are feeling fulfilled and happy so that they can then serve customers well and are motivated in the office here. So those are the two that I really, there's many others, but those are kind of two that right now stick out to me.
Oh, I love the old classic Good to Great. I figured you was going to say Lean Startup because of your use of pivot.
Yes, that's where that came from. But that is probably in the top 5 there as well. Great book for startups. So
exactly. Thanks for those recommendations.
Yeah.
Hey, what's one of your favorite tools or pieces of technology that you've recently discovered, if any, that you'd recommend to other business owners, and why would you recommend it?
Oh, yeah, good question. Our most recent implementation was NetSuite, the ERP. I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but it's an ERP, so enterprise resource planning. It's obviously there's a larger cost to implement that, but it has been incredibly beneficial for not only me, but our entire team as far as planning, keeping track of tasks, mining real-time data. For our online sales, and then order and inventory management. So it's a pretty much a jack of all trades when it comes to platforms, and we are able to do custom coding on there based on what our business needs are. So it's been fun to work through and see what we can get the system to do. But that, as of right now, that's been my favorite piece of technology to work on.
Very cool. I've never had anybody recommend that. I like when we get new recommendations.
Yeah.
What quote would best summarize your belief or your attitude in business?
Good question. I would say like a quote by John Lennon that says, "Life is what happens while you're busy making other plans." I think, for me, and I think for a lot of entrepreneurs that I know, it's all about jumping in and making things happen. So I think, I know it's about execution. If you can come up with a solid idea, the best way to test that and refine it is to get it out there and take the criticism and refine, and just that should be a continual process for the life of a business. But really getting out there and making it happen is something that I value and definitely hold myself to. So.
Good stuff. Thank you. How do people connect with you? How do they check out some of the stuff that you're putting out in these 6,000 SKUs that you got? They don't have to look at all of them, right?
Right. No, you can. We're on Facebook. We're on the social media channels there, and we do constant updates. So it's just Society 43. That's the number 4 and 3. So Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're on all of those. And then me, specifically, my Twitter handle is @Where'sBolt. And you're welcome to reach out to me and ask any questions. And then our website, which is society43.com. So those are the best ways to check out what we're up to and see what's going on.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Remember that you can find all the links to the books and the resources mentioned in the show notes. Just go to rockstarentrepreneur.network.com. Now, before I close the show today, I want to read a quote that comes from Dale Carnegie. And the quote reads, "If you want to conquer fear, don't sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy." This is Travis Lane Jenkins signing off for now. To your incredible success, my friend. Take care.